one is that fee per ballot or actually per PDF page, because of our ballots, 3 sheets of paper, is that $3, it means $1 or something, is that fee?
Correct.
And then also, what does that setup fee include, and is that someone coming here to set it up, or, we like to do lots of things ourselves here, so.
Sure.
That's how I would, with a county of your size, we would want to lean towards being able to train some folks where you could do your own setup.
So then you don't have the.
Then the setup fee would go away, yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah, and our suggestion is, and just so you know, the setup fee is $350 is a flat rate, and then it's $1 per style, so it wouldn't be per page.
Okay.
But still, if you had 1,000 styles, then it would be, let's say, $1,300. And what happens for that setup fee? What we do is we take the PDFs from Electionware, and there needs to be what's called a relational table. It says this ballot style gets this PDF, and so that needs to get loaded into the system. The PDFs need to get loaded, and then we basically set up the new election to point to that data. So that's what's involved. As Dustin said, we can do that as a setup, but there's no reason you can't do it yourself. Our suggestion would be, let us do the first 1 or 2, look over our shoulders, and at the point in time you're saying, hey, I can do this, then you can go ahead and take it over. I will tell you, we have this conversation with just about every customer, and they talk about doing them themselves. Probably 90% of them just have us do it, but there's nothing to stop from us having you do it. Now, what I will say is, because there's different things that, besides just printing the ballot, there's these overlays that happen, right? Where you can put an overlay down here, and you can add it like what some people do is when they're printing provisionals, they'll actually print the word provisional on the ballot. If you have a provisional job, you can add information to it. And so what happens is, that's something that we will normally handle in a setup, where you say, I want to change how I want my job set up, or I want to do something different. So if you do end up taking that on, we'll probably want to do a little more training for you. Probably add a day's worth of training, so that way you know how to look under the covers and do that thing. Most of our customers, all we teach them to do is to operate the system, but if you want to set it up yourself, then we probably add a day in, and you're certainly welcome to do that. Well, I am past my 3 questions, so you don't have to keep asking questions, but all right.
Any other Valatar?
Going once, going twice. Great. Well, thank you very much for the time and the attention.
No, I like this question. So the laptop, so you only need one, so say we had 8 of them, they're all networked in, we still only need one.
I'm gonna say, technically, there is no limitation technically on how many input stations can feed the laptop or how many printers it can connect to. So you could do 8 check-in stations to 1 laptop to 8 printers. The problem is you get a bottleneck there, right? Because it's queuing up all of those. So we typically suggest, and you also have a single point of failure. So we suggest typically that you want to go 1 laptop to every 2 or 3, up to 4. Okay, maximum of 4. So if you had 8, then we'd probably recommend at least 2 laptops. And again, the nice thing about that is if 1 laptop goes down, it'll actually revert over to the other one, so it gives you some backup capability too. And we supply the laptops along with it. There are some unusual situations where, because of county rules or for computers and such, where they want it on their own. But the challenge with that is there's certain prereqs that need to get put on there, and if we're trying to support you, and again, this click fee covers maintenance of all of it, and so if we're trying to support you, it becomes more difficult when we're putting our software on your laptop. So we really like to keep this as kind of a package deal, and we found customers more satisfied and we can support you better.
I did want to mention, obviously Valatar and Val, and Dustin kind of brought up, I think, the lift you get, but if you just decide, hey, BOD is a better option for it, you can still do what you're doing now with the PDFs and sending it over to the printer. And, it's not Valatar, it doesn't do the connection with the VR and all that data, but you still have that ability, which you have today.
We don't have that ability.
Okay.
Well, I guess maybe we do, Brian, right, but not really.
In theory, we have.
In theory.
It's not-
I mean, the
Right.
enormous
The giant print.
Yeah. Right, yeah, that's definitely,
The printers are definitely
the 9650,
Doable.
yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, and these do a lot better job on registration. That 9650, as you probably know, has a tendency to walk. This
That's why
carriage
it's
is only 8.5 inches wide, so it has no room to walk, so it's got really good registration.
One of every 7 we have is used.
Yeah, okay. Maybe that's why you don't use it that much.
That's-
So, as far as the paper stock, which is part of the per click.
Right.
So is it at the start of the cycle, we anticipate, okay, we're gonna have 10,000 in-house voters, you send over whatever that stock would be to cover that. Well, if we need more, of course, more comes, but if we are short, does that, paper has a life cycle, so do we send that back?
Actually, yeah, to clarify, because I didn't, so what happens is on paper, you actually buy the stock at 10 cents a sheet. So you'll determine I need 50,000 sheets. And then you own that stock. And we do that because everybody's got different purposes and different sizes, and it's really tough to reuse paper. But when it comes to consumables, yes, you will tell us, I think I'm gonna need 50,000. We're gonna send you the proper supplies. We actually know at the end of each election, we get reports from the printer that know what the level of supplies are. So we know that you got half left here and you need another 50,000, we'll ship them out. And then what we just do is ask you when you get to a certain point on supplies, if it's maybe a bigger election than you thought, you let us know and then we'll ship you some more. So the supplies are definitely shipped as you go. And again, if it's a case where we ship 50 blacks and you only use 20, we may just leave them out there because it's easier taking it back. If we have another county in Ohio that's short, we may run and get it because you didn't pay for it. But the paper, you do need to do a little work on that and try and make a decent guess so you've got it and you can use it for next time. All right, great. Well, good questions and again, appreciate it. Thanks, Val.
And this is all available now, right, Craig, like for?
Yes, yep. Okay, I'm gonna have Toby and Heather, but before I do, I noticed I did a horrible job on your little cheat sheet here when it comes to the central scanner. And I don't wanna be docked for it, so, I mean, you guys know the 850 well enough about how to, ballot scanning, easy use, how processing a regular ballot, a write-in, and open. I'd be happy to go through this, because I don't wanna be docked, but obviously, you guys are mega users of the 850 now. That stuff really never changes, but.
So if it hasn't changed, then, I mean, Brian, right?
Are you guys okay?
I'm fine.
Yeah, we basically just wanted to show you the difference of what you're currently doing and all that. Let me make sure there's nothing under votes, ballot, indeterminate mark. Storage we talked about, obviously AC, number of cords, same, okay. So, apologize, but I just wanted to make sure we're good on that front. So now, I'll get this out of the way and I'll let Toby and Heather get on with the software. And obviously, I've asked Heather and Toby to really kind of focus on the changes between version 6020 and what you currently have, and then obviously the back end. But you guys drive how you think is the best way for us to proceed here.
Yeah, I think we'll take it forward. You guys, are you gonna be able to see that?
Wow. Is there a light I can shut off, or?
Now we can break the whole.
There you go.
Perfect.
There you go.
Whoa. I'm glad that was attached.
Do you want a mic in?
That's fine. Real quick, I wanted to show you, I know we talked about this with the ExpressGo kiosk. This was a picture I took in Johnson County, Kansas. They have 2,000 of those kiosks all nested together. So I just wanted to show you guys.
That's Kansas City.
That's Kansas City. So.
Good job, Judd.
Well, while you're getting mic'd up, I don't know, Craig, you shouldn't go too far, but I wanna talk about Johnson City, and I wanna talk about
Yep.
the issue of 6,000, and
Okay.
why we're at, 60-20 now,
Yep.
and, I mean, we would've liked to have heard about this from you guys, first of
Sure.
all, I will say that, but, I wanna understand exactly what happened,
Yep.
and if, you know, we've been hearing about 6,000 for over, you know, well, a really, really long time, probably since I have been manager in the ballot department, so, one, what happened? How'd you not know that it was gonna happen, what was the testing? And then talk, you know, the thought process, you know, knowing that we had 6,000 here test, you know, doing our testing, why we weren't notified?
Okay. Toby could probably explain about, I'll hit the highlights of what transpired, and what, obviously 6,000 was our first big release of kind of the go-forward election wear. Everything was great, other than the back end of it. What we found out in Johnson County was everything ran great, the close went great, but when they went in to read in sticks, the more sticks they read in, and I'll have Toby speak to this, but basically the statistical counters were kept rebuilding each stick it read in. So hence, the more sticks you read in, the longer it was taking to read that stick. All right, and they have how many sticks?
They were well over 2,000 machines sticking each one, plus all the batches. that
So,
they had.
so figure even just, you know, they probably had 300-400 polling places, you know, or so we had to read in 300-400 sticks. So first several went great, but the more sticks got read in, it was taking 15-20 minutes to read in the stick, okay? Not good, you know, first use, and they didn't get done reading sticks, you were there, right,
Yeah,
until like 4 in the morning,
Yeah, I can speak to it.
okay?
That was
But I'll let him, Toby, speak to the details. So that was the primary, right? We found out what the issue, we figured out what had occurred. We corrected it in 60-20,